What's going on, everyone? Casey Veggies coming to you live adjacent to my garden. I'm on my back patio today, and the reason why is because I'm going to be experimenting with potting this columnar apple tree that's sitting in front of me. I just learned about these guys this year, and they're pretty cool, columnar fruit trees. Fruit trees are a crucial aspect, a crucial addition to any edible landscape, but they can be a little overwhelming because they grow big, and finding the right spot for them can be tough, especially if you're tight on space, which makes these guys so cool, which is why these guys are so cool, because they primarily grow vertically like a column and don't have a ton of horizontal growth. They don't have branches that branch out horizontally to grow the fruit. Rather, the fruit actually grows right along the main trunk of the tree in a column shape, thus the name. And so they can be a perfect addition to somebody who wants to grow fruit trees, but maybe a little bit tight on space. Not to mention, I've read that they can be grown in pots as well, which is what I'm gonna be experimenting with today. So, okay, I've got two varieties of columnar apple trees sitting here in front of me. I've got a Northpole and a Scarlet Sentinel. Got them from Cascadia Edible Landscapes. Check them out for all your edible plant and fruit needs. The key thing that you should know about planting fruit trees is that you do need two varieties of the same species for them to pollinate and thus grow fruit. You could rely on the fact that maybe your neighbors have apple trees, but if you want to ensure pollination and thus growing actual fruit, make sure you have two varieties of the same species. I've got my pot. Make sure your pot's big enough if you're planting a fruit tree. This one is, at minimum, you want it to be about 20 inches wide, 2 feet deep, so that's a really big pot, but that's what you need for potting a tree. I've got rocks that I'm gonna put in the bottom of this pot for drainage. Make sure your pot has a hole in it. I've done this before where I plant something and realize that the pot doesn't have a hole. Water can't drain out and it just rots and gets nasty. A tip to help with that, I usually use two kind of pieces of wood that I'll put under the pot to elevate it off the ground, and that allows for the water to drain out a little bit easier. I've got my potting soil, and I've got my water that I'm gonna water with after I'm done potting, and I should be ready to go. So let's get to it. Okay, put my rocks in the bottom. And this helps make sure that hole in the bottom of the pot doesn't get clogged with potting soil, to make sure that water will continue to drain out of this pot. I'm actually gonna add a few more rocks just for ultimate drainage. Potting soil left over. Yeah, and I'm just gonna fill this up with potting soil, not quite all the way. Certainly uses a lot of potting soil, but that's all right. Now I got my tree here. The current soil that it's in is damp, which is good. And I'm just gonna remove it from this pot, break up the root clumps a bit, position it in this pot, and then put some more potting soil around it to kind of get it tight in there. So let's do it. Nice. I want to position it in a way where kind of this root ball is going to be right above the soil line. So I'm gonna just lean it up here. I need a little more potting soil in this pot. And everything's an experiment in the garden. It's all trial and error. We'll see about this. I'm trying to kind of position these roots to go down, point them down. And now I'm going to fill in with some more potting soil. If you're going to do this, make sure you have enough potting soil. Okay. I'm kind of pressing down around the base of the trunk to get it secure in there, and that's about all there is to it. I'm gonna hit it with some water. Make sure my roots are covered, which they are for the most part. And now it's kind of a wait and see type deal because, again, I've never done this before. I've never planted a fruit tree in a pot. So I'll check back with you later this summer. We'll see how this thing does. I'm gonna plant my other one right over here, not too far away from it, in my actual garden. And hopefully I get some apples this summer. I'll report back, but go check it out. Columnar fruit trees, great additions to any sort of urban edible landscape. If you're tight on space, check them out. I got mine at Cascadia Edible Landscapes. As always, hit me up if you got any questions. I'm Casey Veggies. Peace.